Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. It's Ryan from Movies with Ryan, and we're here with another video about part of my collection. Now, I've done my whole Criterion collection in the past, my A24 collection in the past. Today, we're doing my Arrow video collection. Now, why am I doing this? Well, next Wednesday on 20th and 21st Century's YouTube channel, he's having a live stream, and we're going to do Arrow for Beginners. So I started looking through my collection to see what I had, and like usual, I didn't think I had much, but I have a lot more than I thought that I did. So we're going to go through these. Now, the reason I like Arrow, they are kind of a counterpoint to Criterion in a sense. They do overlap a little bit on some of their titles, but I've found a lot more Asian cinema in Arrow that I enjoy. So I've picked up a few things, and once I go through here, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. There will be a couple directors that you will hear over and over again. Some of the things I like about Arrow's products are their packaging. It's fantastic. They've got just regular Amaray cases with reversible art, steelbooks, limited edition box sets, standard edition box sets. They have a bunch of supplements. They have cool booklets, posters, all sorts of things. Probably the only complaint I would ever have about Arrow is when they do an upgrade like a 4K release after they've already had a standard Blu-ray release, they kind of recycle the same art, which I understand that licensing issues, art issues, and stuff like that, it's probably something they're bound to. But if they could change the art, it would kind of make it a little cooler. So let's get in. Let's see what I got. Starting off with my standard Amaray cases, my first title is the very first movie that introduced me to this director. And by far, this director is probably my favorite new age Japanese director. My old age being Akira Kurosawa. So the movie I'm talking about is Takashi Miike's Audition. Now, this is a horror movie, and it is a gut-wrenching horror movie. It is not for the faint of heart on a first watch. I did not know that going into this, and when I got done watching this, I had no clue what I had just watched. This movie will freak you out. So basically, a widower is going online for a dating service to find a new wife, runs into her, and she's into body horror, body modification, and it gets weird. Takashi Miike, Audition. Next, also from Takashi Miike, is the Black Society trilogy. It is the Senjuku Triad Society, Rainy Dog, and Ley Lines. So this is what really catapulted Takashi into a mature filmmaker in a sense. This was the very first movie of his that actually got theater play, went to the movie theaters, and kind of catapulted him into the spotlight. Of course, this is, I don't believe this is a limited edition, but it does have the slip on it. Of course, it does have reversible art. And there you go. It's got the flip case in there. It's got some art in there. But this is basically three different stories kind of wound together about Yakuza, the Triads, and exiled members. But I have not watched this yet. I need to get into it. One night I want to try to make this a triple play and watch all of it. Next is a movie I talked about on a live stream once. I had seen this on a sale. I had passed it up. Their last sale, I looked at it. I was like, I like that cover. So I looked at it. I watched a trailer, and I was like, I'm buying this. And this is a fairly inexpensive one. It's usually you can catch it on sale for anywhere from $12 to $14, even $9.99 on some of their sales. But that is Dave Made a Maze. And I watched this immediately whenever I got it, and it was hilarious. So Dave is an artist, and he's not doing very well. And one day his girlfriend goes out on errands, and he gets really, really bored. He's having issues being creative and that, and he starts making a maze with all this cardboard. Well, she comes home and is like, hey, Dave, get out of the maze. And he can't. He's lost. So she rounds up a bunch of friends, and even though he keeps telling her, no, don't come in, don't come in, they go in. And there's man-eating minotaurs made of cardboard. They turn into puppets at one time. People die. This movie is great. If you have not seen Dave Made a Maze, I highly recommend this title from Arrow. It does have an American Blu-ray release as well, but this is fantastic. Next, going back to Takashi Miike. Sorry about that. That is his Dead or Alive trilogy. Now, I'd already watched Audition. When I went into this, I didn't really know what to expect. But the first movie, beginning with an explosive 6-minute montage of sex, drugs, and violence, and ending with a phallus-headed battle robot taking flight. These 3 movies were insane. It's basically about some gang members, 2 brothers that are basically fighting a gang. Some people try to kill them in the second one, and in the third one it gets even crazier. But this is prime Takashi Miike. It doesn't quite make total sense. You see stuff that you're like, why is that put in there for? But it still blows your mind. But the Dead or Alive trilogy, I love this. Again, Miike, the happiness of the Katakuris. So basically, the Katakuris own an inn, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's stop motion, live action. It's really weird, but they own an inn, and people keep dying in their inn under mysterious ways, and then they come back to haunt them. This was a trip too. Like I said, Takashi really dips his toes into all sorts of genres. He's kind of known for the Yakuza crime story / horror, but you never know what you're going to get with him. And this was insane too. But the happiness of the Katakuris. I highly recommend this as well. Next, this was a recent pickup. I actually thought this was a Criterion at first, and then when I picked it up, I realized it's an Arrow Academy, which is one of the sister labels under the Arrow banner, which I don't know if they actually do the Academy anymore, but that is Hiroshima. So this is basically stories after we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. And I showed this before on my monthly update, but it's put on there. It blasts you right out of your seat. Who got away with putting that on this? Tell me, Arrow. Second time I've asked. Please tell me. Next is a movie that does have a Shout Select release, which I need to get because I am trying to get all the Shout Selects. But this is a very, very good movie. And that is John Goodman in Matinee. Now, Matinee plays Lawrence Woosley, that is trying to basically sell smell-o-vision. It's not really smell-o-vision, but a matinee experience where you get physically touched and you smell things and stuff like that. But he basically was an inventor of that. And this goes along really telling a good story about it, and this is just a fun watch. Matinee, highly recommend it. Next is a movie I've yet to watch. It is a ninja movie, Pray to Death. Like I said, Pray for Death. I'm sorry, not Pray to Death. Pray for Death. Like I said, Arrow has a lot of these kind of Asian cinema movies you wouldn't see in American boutique labels. Had to pick it up. And yes, it does have the reversible art, which I thought was cool. There you go. As you can see, reversible art's cool. Get this down in here. And almost every one of these has art cards or booklets, stuff to go with it, and they're just full of information. And their extras are on par with Criterion. I mean, half the time you can almost sit there for an hour just watching the special features on these things. Next is a movie I watched towards the end of the year. It had just came out, and I didn't know quite what to expect. I enjoyed this movie. There's not a whole lot of action in it, but it's funny. Sailor Suit Machine Gun. So Azumi inherits her dad's Yakuza clan, and she's 13 years old, and she's got to run it. And by the end of the movie, she's running it. Sailor Suit Machine Gun, if you want just a good kind of cool story, I highly recommend it. This I have not watched yet. I need to watch the Street Fighter series first, which is Sonny Chiba. This is the sister Street Fighter. So Sonny Chiba had the Street Fighter series. I believe there was 2 or 3 movies. And this is, what is her name? Kishiiku Shinahami actually trained under Sonny Chiba. And they got the idea, hey, let's throw her in there and make her a badass woman with her own series, and that's what they did. And these are supposed to be very excellent. Sonny Chiba is also on these. He's a great martial artist. I can't wait to watch this. And finally, in my standard Blu-rays, Versus. This was a fun watch. So basically, these Yakuza take these people out to this forest and to eliminate them. And this forest is sci-fi like, I guess. People come back alive in it as zombies. So they end up having to fight off all these zombies, and it's just a really hack and slash, shooting, guns blazing, zombie killing time. I really enjoyed this. And there is like 3 different cuts in this version too, and they're all equally as good. So Versus, I highly recommend it as well. Next, steelbooks. Arrow does make steelbooks. They've made some really cool ones, and I've picked some up. So we'll first start with 12 Monkeys. And as you can see, even though there's glare on the back, so this is kind of a matte finish, but then they've spot glossed his mask, and that just looks awesome. Of course, 12 Monkeys, Brad Pitt, Bruce Willis, time travel. They go back to try to stop a disease breaking out and killing off basically almost all of mankind. 12 Monkeys. Next, Kenji Fukasaku. Now this is the other director you're going to hear a little bit from me. Battle Royale. Now this started it all. Hunger Games, Squid Games, and a bunch of other spin-offs. But basically, kids get stuck on an island, high school kids, and they have to basically kill each other to be the last one standing to get off the island. But the Battle Royale collection. Now they did just come out, I think last year, with a really, really nice 4K box set of this. I highly recommend picking up. It's full of extras. But Battle Royale, great movie. Next is my second favorite Takashi Miike movie. That is The Blade of the Immortal. There's the back of it. I love the back of it. To save her life, he will take 1,000 others. So basically, there's a girl in trouble, and he basically cannot die. And he has to kill everybody to help this girl. And he kills everybody. In the first 15 minutes, he goes up against 40 guys, and it is a bloodbath. And that's the other thing I like about Miike. He does not hold back with the blood and the violence. And it's fantastic. But Blade of the Immortal, I highly, highly recommend this. There is an American version of this as well, Blu-ray and Steelbook, but this is the Arrow version. I like it a lot better. Next, classic sci-fi, Donnie Darko. Of course, they just came out with 4K, I believe, last year. They did have a couple of disc issues with it, but I think they got that all straightened out. Love Donnie Darko. This movie is just straight weird. That's all I got to say about it. And I guess I can show you all of them. Have the Arrow logo also on the top of them. So it makes it really easy to pick them out. Next, this just got a 4K release, and I want to buy the limited edition set because the Steelbook looks exactly the same, minus the 4K logo. That is RoboCop. Love RoboCop. There he is on the back. And this comes with both the theatrical and the director's cut. So, very good movie. I actually can't wait to watch it in 4K because I've heard the 4K looks fantastic. And finally, rounding out my Steelbooks is a movie I used to watch all the time in the 80s, and everybody probably watched this back in the 80s, but Weird Science. Love this movie. Of course, here's the back. Sexy, sexy. Can't go wrong with this movie. It's great. And finally, to round out my Arrow collection are box sets. Now, like I said, their box sets are really nice. The limited edition ones, they're very hard. They're hard boxes, which I'll show you here in a second. Their re-releases or their non-special editions are a little bit flimsier. I guess that could be a complaint too, but they're still really good. So first we're going to start off with the Kenji Fukasaku collection. This includes Street Mobster, Cops vs. Thugs, and Doberman Cop. I have not watched these yet, and I can't wait to get into them. But here's the first one. Street Mobster. So, a pivotal work in the Yakuza movie genre in the career of career director Kenji Fukasaku, Street Mobster presents an abrasive portrait of the rise and fall of a reckless street punk caught in the crossfire of a bloody turf war. And next, I love this cover. So colorful, pinks and purples, Cops vs. Thugs. And then the last one. Doberman Cop. Again, I don't know if these actually have reversible art. Yes, they do. They actually have, I'm going to assume they all do, a theatrical poster in them. So that's cool. Now, these do not have booklets in them. This is the standard edition box set. And there is no booklet also in there. So the next one is also a Kenji box set. So Kenji to me is like the godfather of Yakuza crime movies, and this box set was a grail of mine for a while. And I finally picked it up because they did a re-release last year. Kind of upset. I'd rather have the special edition, just because they put each individual movie in its own case, and it's got the hard box, and it also had a booklet. I'd rather have that, but I'll settle for this. But that is the Battles Without Honor and Humanity box set. And this has Battles Without Honor and Humanity, Hiroshima Deathmatch, Proxy War, Police Tactics, Final Episode. So basically this is about a Yakuza clan and 5 movies of their rise and fall throughout the whole series. And this is bloody, violent, and great. I mean, Kenji really did a good job of bringing Yakuza crime to us. Now next, this is the limited edition box set. This is also Kenji Fukasaku's Battles Without Honor and Humanity, New Battles, the complete trilogy. As you can see, it's got all 3 movies in separate. It's got a book. And it's got a hard box. As you can see, there's the booklet. Like I said, I really wish I had the first one, but it's whatever. And here's all the different covers. And they all match. I love it because it's all this red and black. This one has New Battles Without Honoring Humanity, The Boss's Head, and The Last Days of the Boss. So basically, he wrote this one first. It's about the same clan, and this is a new clan. And this is basically their arc. Love these two. Now next, Kenji kind of got out of it for a while, and Takashi Miike got him to write one more story. And that's called Graveyards of Honor. And basically, it's a compact story of a Yakuza clan and their rise and fall. And then Takashi Miike also did one in his take, his version, which is a little bit more violent, a little bit more bloody, and a little bit more insane. But this is the Graveyards of Honor. So you got a Kenji movie in here and a Takashi movie in here. Sorry, I'm having so much trouble speaking today. But this again, hard box, love it. Now this is something I just picked up recently. I've not yet gotten to break into it. So this is the Yokai Monsters Collection, limited edition box, and this thing is cool. So yokai monsters are like these weird spiritual folklore monsters. As you can see, there are all sorts of different stuff on here. And this has, the original is 100 Monsters, Spook Warfare, and Along with Ghosts. And then Takashi Miike came along. Let me see, does this say who the... so it's the makers of the Damajin. So it's the same people. So it's a couple of different directors that did all these movies. But they did these 3 movies first. And then Takashi came back and took a little bit of everything and made the Great Yokai War. So he put his own little spin on there. Need to break into these. Like I said, I've owned this set. It's super nice. There is a book in there. Can't wait to watch these. Speaking of that set, the Damajin. This box set is cool. That's all I got to say about it. It is just so cool. Now, this is a trilogy. It is about a stone golem that comes to life to defend an island in the first one. Then it helps some people in the second one. And the third one, it fights an army. Pops off. And then you've got all 3 movies in here. I'm doing a horrible job of showing these off. And then it's got a book. But the Damajin. I've watched the trailers for this. It looks really, really cool. I can't wait to watch this. It's like kind of a kaiju in a sense. But the Damajin. Highly recommend it. This does have a standard edition now out, I believe. Next. I pulled this off the shelf. And had an issue. So this is Shell Scope Volume 1. Got a little bit of peeling. I thought it was the J box or J card, but it is not. It is actually part of the box. It's peeled up. So I don't know if that's a humidity issue or what. But Shaw Brothers, Shaw Scope Volume 1. Shaw Brothers have been around since like the 20s. And in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, they were really, really, really big on martial arts. And this is basically the first, I believe, 12 movies of the Shaw Brothers. And this thing is just awesome. It's got a huge book in it. It's got all the movies in it, and each one is detailed really, really well. There's a bunch of special features. I have not broken into this yet. I have seen some of these movies already before, just in the past. But it's great to have this. I can't wait for Volume 2. Hopefully they fix this. I'm going to have to get a glue stick or something and glue that down. And last but not least, probably my favorite Arrow box set I have. Probably my favorite Arrow movies I have. And this is the Vengeance Trilogy. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and Lady Vengeance. Of course, everybody knows Old Boy. Gotta love Old Boy. These are all by Park Chan-wook, and they are fantastic. There's Vengeance for Mr. Sympathy, just as messed up as Old Boy. Lady Vengeance, just as messed up as both of those. But when I first got into Arrow, Old Boy is basically non-existent in America. I think there may have been one Blu-ray of it, if that. I know there was a Tartan Asian Extreme DVD of it that was Region A, but it's basically non-existent. This is what made me buy a region-free player, because Old Boy is region-free, I believe. The other 2 are not. I know I've had to watch them on my region-free player. Old Boy, I think, was region-free. But I love this trilogy. This was the only way you can really get it. There is a Best Buy 10. It was Palisades Tartan Extreme, or Palisades Asian Extreme 10 that was available from Best Buy. And there may have been just a standard Blu-ray. But either way, I wanted this box set because it's cool. I mean, it's got everything in here. Of course, you got the hammer, the gun, and the ice pick, the screwdriver. Yeah, the screwdriver. They're weapons of choice. If you've never watched this series, you need to watch it. Some of the best Korean movies around. So, that's my Arrow collection. That's everything I own, and I hope before too long, I have a lot more to add to it. I know Arrow usually runs a sale a couple times throughout the year. They also run it in junction with the Criterion sale at Barnes & Nobles. Barnes & Nobles runs it there. But Arrow is a fantastic label. If you've not checked them out, please do. Their catalog is great. Their editions are great. Their extras are great. Their transfers are great. Everything about them is great. Highly recommend them. So that's going to end the video here, folks. Thank you for watching through this. Like always, this is Ryan from Movies with Ryan. Until I see you again, have a fantastic night.